Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Chris, and joining me today are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
Jake.
I'm James.
And James is back.
On this week, episode 309,
Woo.
motherfucker, we watched Nightingale and Flesh and Blood, parts 1 and 2.
Oh, both of them.
Ooh. Well, actually, I don't know about you. On the Paramount Plus app, it was actually just a single, long episode.
I don't think it actually is a 1 and 2.
Oh, right.
I think it's a feature.
They have
episode.
to. They do have to cut it in half.
Was it Sweet
when
Sweet?
they
For-
in syndication?
Yeah, for reruns.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of those episodes that was originally intended to be a
Correct, but we'll get to it.
No wonder you looked confused earlier when I was talking about how great it was that we only had to watch that one episode, because we watched that other episode so long ago that I forgot it existed. So tell us, Chris,
okay.
what's it about? 'Cause
So yes,
I'm lost.
first up in Nightingale, Harry finally gets a chance to command, and he's a real prick.
Right. Yeah.
This is why he's a forever ensign, and I'm okay with this.
Shepherd Book lies to him, says he's a physician, but he's actually an engineer.
Looks great.
It does look great.
He's designed a cloak to help his people get out from under the thumb of some Imperium or another that ripped off Cardassian makeup.
Bianari.
And in a tedious and uncomfortable B-plot, Icheb has his first crush, and it's on B'Elanna.
And somehow B'Elanna doesn't flatten him with some kind of device in engineering.
Caitlin said kind of the same thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
am not sure. I'm not sure. I don't mean to disagree right away, but I'm not really sure if I think he had a crush on her so much as he was just taken with the idea that she had a crush on him.
Yeah, I think
Well,
that's actually
Not to
good.
cover the B plot first that you hated and everything.
Well,
but,
I mean, I didn't like any of this episode, so...
I kind of got the impression that he was being like, I need to figure out how to let this girl down.
Yeah, I think he misread.
Oh, he definitely-
her
yeah.
being nice to him.
Yeah, he definitely
Well,
did.
to be fair, she was being awfully seductive this week.
It was so the whole time, like, and almost I think every scene B'Elanna's in, she doesn't act like B'Elanna at all.
No, she's like a fucking hair twirling.
Yeah.
Like, we should go rock climbing. It's all
Like-
about the climb.
Like, it really did seem like she was hitting on him.
I
like,
thought so too,
like,
right?
That's just how it comes off. It doesn't come off as a misunderstanding. It comes off that all of a sudden B'Elanna is interested in Icheb.
Well,
I
I mean,
joked-
how long would you have to be married to Tom Paris before you started to look elsewhere?
Well, see, I joked at one point, and who knows,
Monogamous.
Oh, right. Same.
So 0 days.
but I joked that, it wasn't so much that she was trying to seduce him, it's that she was trying to steal him from Seven.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Maybe not even intentionally, but on some level, she was just like,
See,
I'm
now,
gonna steal this kid and teach him how to be a person.
that could have been an interesting take on the love triangle. Like,
The mother's love triangle.
yeah, it's like B'Elanna's just like, whoa, like, Icheb, you're actually incredibly valuable down here in engineering. I could absolutely use you. And, like, starts giving him a lot more responsibility than Seven is comfortable with.
That's the thing. It's
So,
even-
like, there would actually be a conflict where Seven's like, whoa, it's like, Icheb, you
I've
can't,
got
you
him
can't
on
just...
a track, a board
Right.
track. And
Yeah,
he
it's like, no,
deviate.
I have a path for him, and you're doing weird stuff.
Well,
like,
that's the thing. It even at first looked like that was gonna be the idea. Because she's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this kid is like way smarter than the rest of my staff.
Yeah.
And I don't resent him like I do Seven, so...
Hold
But
on,
then
yeah.
it turned into this weird hot for teacher thing.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
thinking teacher's hot for you thing.
so there's also...
which is hot for teacher.
Yeah.
So there's also the really important thing that I think the writers forgot is Icheb is like 10 years old. Like,
Right, because he grew up in a board.
Maturation
yeah,
chamber.
when they went back to the planet where his parents were, they're like, "Whoa, you've grown," because he was sent away as like a child.
Right.
Like he was a little kid, and so he's actually 8 years old or 10 years old or something.
Yeah, but he has also the knowledge of the Borg.
But also on his cube that was malfunctioning, like, whoa, he was never out amongst the other Borgs because
True.
it malfunctioned and he was only ever out with the other kids.
True.
I
mean,
Yeah,
he
his-
still has the Borg. Like, I don't think you assimilate Borg culture by being among other Borgs. I just think he was assimilated
It's a
by
plug-in.
being...
It's like installed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
Like,
if you're jacked
They don't do a lot of
Yeah.
talking. They don't even fucking move half the time if there's like no threat on the ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like,
what was Mazzotti? Was Mazzotti like any other Borg in
I
terms
think-
of knowledge and
I think to an extent, but I also think that she was less developed than Icheb, you know?
she would have been a baby like
Yeah.
when she was.
Although it is funny, of all the Borglings, she came off as the most mature
Right.
Yeah.
I miss her.
somehow.
I know, she was the best.
She was.
She
Yeah,
also
she
had the
was.
most hair. She
Does-
had
does-
like a
Should have
full-
kept her. Got rid of
full
Icheb.
That's right.
Oh, see, I like Icheb.
I do
Icheb
too.
is like my
He's-
second
he's,
favorite.
He's a sweet boy.
does her actor still act? Can she show up in Prodigy?
That'd be great.
Well, I mean, they can show up in Prodigy regardless. Of
But
what
you
they
have to
act. I don't
drag
think she
around
acts.
those
I don't
awful
think she
twins
acts
with her.
anymore.
No, they're dead.
Yeah.
God.
They were
Nice.
visiting Romulus when the star exploded.
Or like their parents were actually going to sacrifice them to the Borg to not get bored.
What is it with these fucking families? It's sacrificing children.
No, you know what it is? They actually they've decided to join up with the Bynars. They're off with the Bynars now. They're very
Aw.
happy.
Dweebs.
So the other thing with we can hopefully close out this subplot is later Icheb and Tom Paris are walking down the hallway,
Yeah.
and Tom Paris is like, oh, I heard you're gonna go like rock climbing with my wife, and Icheb's like, yeah, and Tom was like, that sounds terrible. Want to go race cars together?
And Icheb's like, oh no, Tom's in love with me too.
No, that's what I was hoping for.
Well,
Like,
it's
you like
instead,
Gladiator
it's-
movie?
Yeah, no, instead Icheb is like, oh, he's challenging me to like a contest for B'Elanna. It's like, but it's basically the same thing B'Elanna did. He should have just been like, I think Tom and B'Elanna want me to be in a throuple.
Well, so I turned to Caitlin and said, "Oh, they want a three-way. I see." I do love though, fucking Tom. He's like, "Wait a minute. There's someone who's the same mental age as me on this ship. Let's go race cars. Woo!"
Mario Kart.
I mean, here's the thing. Everybody wants to race cars.
Oh yeah,
It's a
no,
lot
that
of
sounds
fun.
great. That's way better than rock climbing.
Here's the thing. If you can race the car and then drive it off a cliff and then jump out of the car as it's falling and grasp onto the cliff and then climb it, like
Yes.
that would be cool.
I mean,
That's true.
safety protocols.
Exactly. Like, why not do that?
I never thought of that. I guess like if it like can adjust for you, you can do sweet stunts without actually having the skill
Yeah.
to do them.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
One other very important thing about the subplot. So there was a scene where Icheb was eating his nutritional supplements, and it just straight up looked like a big plate of nachos.
Yes,
Yum.
it did.
We said that too.
In the wide shot, I said it looked like a pie, but then they closed the close. Wow, they did the close up. I was like, wait, it's fucking nachos.
That
like,
was
it-
so much too.
It was like pounds.
Growing boy.
It was like a whole fucking Chili's appetizer size bowl of nachos. And B, it was a fucking bowl of nachos.
Yeah,
I'm carbo loading for my rock climb.
Like, that
There we
would,
go.
that would be the best fucking joke ever if like all
The
these,
whole
these
time.
nutritional supplements were just junk food. It's like, I have to have my nutritional supplement number 4 alpha, please. Replicates fucking Cheetos.
well, it turns out that's the little spoken of side effect of assimilation. The body gets so good at processing stuff, you can eat all the garbage you want, and you're fine.
Well, and we talked about this, I think, last week about the pooping.
Yeah,
That they
Why
don't.
are we
they-
always talking
they
about
don't poop.
this? Jesus Christ.
So
because
sad
we
I
are
missed
mentally
that.
the same age.
the nanoprobes take care of it for you.
Yeah.
We are mentally the same age as Tom.
And Icheb.
Let's all drive cars.
Friend,
Some
friend.
nachos. Let's get some nutritional supplements.
So I guess on the main plot, unless there's anything else about the subplot,
No.
If there is, I'll come back.
the main plot's really strange because it's like a ship comes, gets attacked, it's in distress. Kim manages to save the day, and then they're all like super impressed with him and are like, "We need you to be our captain."
All of us are like monotaskers that
Yeah.
can only do one thing, and none of us know how to fly this ship.
Right. It feels really weird, and it feels like so the concept I really like. The concept of giving Tom or giving Kim like his time to shine, like really like stretch his legs on something and have a lot of responsibility. Probably more responsibility than he should have, right? I like that idea a lot, and I think that would definitely have the character grow and develop. However, I think the fact that like Kim basically seems to be trying to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, when he's like trying to describe it to Janeway, he's not talking about helping these people. He's talking about career advancement.
Yeah,
like
it's
the whole
look how
time.
good this is going to make me look.
It's like,
I'm
I'd be
going
a
to get so
lieutenant.
many pips for this.
Yeah, it's like, I'd be a lieutenant commander maybe by now
Oh,
if we were in the Alpha
please.
Quadrant, right? Would have been fired. But like, well, he'd be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But so he's using the alien's bad situation for like personal gratification, as opposed to like if he had been like reluctantly thrust into it, and they're like the aliens they're just like basically imprint on him, and they're like, we only trust you. Yeah. Like, we don't trust anyone else. We only trust you. Doesn't matter who. Like, you can't pass this off. We won't trust another person, but we trust you. Then this story would work.
Yeah.
It also just makes it like really does Harry Kim dirty. This whole episode, because it makes him seem like petulant.
Yep.
Makes him seem incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
It like he doesn't come off as heroic even at the end when he's like, I have to work. I hope this works. Like
Yeah, he's a micromanager the whole freaking
he's
time.
just a bitch.
When even Seven, the micromanagement queen, is calling him out for it, then you've done fucked up, Kim.
And that just doesn't feel like Kim?
No. Like
I could see him not being good at his first command, but not like this.
Yeah, so that's like kind of a lot of the issues in the episode. He's not a good captain.
Nope.
He's not a good captain the entire time, and they fire him.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens fire the alien captain that they trusted because they got him out of a tight spot, and because they realized he's not a good captain. And so, like, at one point, the ship, they claim that it's like a medical ship, but it turns out it's actually a weapon prototype, which I don't really know how a person confuses a military prototype with a, medical ship, when I think those two things would probably look different.
Oh, all of the medical supplies and doctors got killed in that raid.
They're over here in the cargo bay. And I can't remember where I was going with it now. My brain.
No brain.
But, it's just the whole time Kim is not being a good captain. And then at the end so they have an accident, and then, they recruit Kim to be the captain. And then later, after he's proven to be a bad captain, they say, they tell him, you've been relieved of duty.
Yeah, they mutiny on day fucking one.
Yeah, they fire him. They fire him. And then Kim goes into his captain's room, which he's filled with all of his own stuff because he has to make the ship his. And he basically says, No, I will be captain. And that's his big growth moment, is that he decides he's not going to listen to the aliens who fired him.
Yeah.
So
that's great. That's a good point.
He's been fired, and then
Maybe
on
if
his
I just
own,
pretend that I didn't get the big
yeah, and on his own, he leaves the captain's room, goes onto the bridge, and he's like, "I'm here, and I'm going to do my job," and everyone kind of nods.
He pulled a Costanza. Really.
Yeah.
He walks in. They get attacked by more Anari fighters, and he comes up with this plan of how to save the ship and save everyone, and doesn't tell anyone what it is. It'll take me too long to tell you. I'm going to actually survive this.
It's no one trusts him.
All of you escape pod away, and I promise I won't actually accidentally leave your ship behind.
Yeah, no one trusts him, and they have and the other thing is so they claim it's a medical ship, and one of the characters, who's played by the actor who plays Shepard Book, claims to be a physician, but he hilariously knows literally nothing about medicine at all, because he's actually a physicist who worked on a cloaking device.
Look, if Catch Me If You Can has taught me anything, when you're pretending to be a doctor, just say, I concur, and you're all set.
Right. But
I concur.
They had a guy who was a leader. I think he led the team working on this cloaking device. Yeah. So he's a leader. He has some leadership skills, which he proves during a moment of crisis. He tells one of the crew members, "Hey, you need to go boop these things in the engine room," and then she dies. And then Kim says, "Oh no, I got her killed," even though he wasn't really doing anything. The other guy took over. The guy took charge, and he was fine at it.
Well, he sent him there, though.
He was responsible. Harry was, I think, responsible, because the reason that happened was because there was a problem with the cloak, and they had to fix it, and Shepard Book was like, "Oh, well, we should run this extra in 7 and 9's like, oh, we should run a diagnostic," and Shepard Book's like, yeah, we should do that. And then Harry's like, "No, there's no time.
I'm the captain." I said,
"Fuck it, we'll do it live." And then, of course, it broke down later, and that's why they had to sacrifice the other scientist.
Dela.
Yeah. like it just seems like there's a lot of moments where I don't know the alien's name. Shepherd Book.
Yeah, that's all I thought of him as the whole
Loken.
time.
Where Loken seems to be a leader who could be in charge. He just chooses not to for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, he's from a normal society. He's not from Starfleet where everyone knows how to do everything.
Yeah, but he's still he's still a leader. He has leadership skills. He led an entire team of scientists working on a cloaking device.
Yeah, but he might not know, like tactical maneuvering. Certainly,
I guess.
Johnny Nazi there didn't.
Yeah, but still, I don't know who that is.
Oh, the little ensign boy there who looked like the fact that they weren't going to be who they claimed they were was patently obvious from word one, because first of all, the boy looks like Rolf from The Sound of Music with his slick back hair and his little fucking...
Okay, not Rolf the Muppet.
Yeah, I was like,
Not following any of this.
Yeah, Rolf's a Nazi in Sound of Music. And actually, I was even like, is that the fascist uniform from Counterpoint? And yes, it was. I looked
Oh,
it up.
nice.
And possibly
uniform.
a different bandolier,
That-
but the jacket was the Counterpoint jacket.
so not to jump around too much, but
Do
this
it.
is another instance where Voyager gets involved in a situation where they don't know who the bad guys
I know.
are.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like the quote unquote bad aliens never do anything that I would consider villainous.
No.
Like when the supposed really bad aliens who have been blockading a planet for 3 years or whatever, like find out that, hey Voyager, you have been aiding our enemies.
Our
We have-
enemies that are trying to like keep working on this cloaking technology.
Yeah, like you are materially helping our enemies. You know what we're gonna do? Escort you to space so you can leave. It's like, wow, that was actually really like not extreme at all. Like they didn't try to attack them. They didn't. They
Our
just
deal is off.
yeah. They were like, it's like we're not doing our deal anymore. I'm sorry, and you need to leave. It's like
Well, that's the thing, too, is like, all we know about them comes from Shepherd Book, who I don't trust.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause that was the other thing. It's
He's
not just...
already proven a liar.
Not
Yeah.
just for their little... Because, again, the two issues I had were Nazi Boy, who looked like a Nazi. And in his first few scenes, everything Book said had this, like, sinister edge to it. Like, I was waiting for it to come out that it's not medicine, it's a bioweapon. We're the Empire. And
Right.
maybe they're not. Like, I appreciate maybe that at the end of the day, we don't really know how bad or good any of them are, necessarily.
Yeah, it's
But-
a little like
and
that
it's
episode
almost-
Nemesis.
It would be like, yes, exactly. I was just thinking of
Oh,
Nemesis.
good. Yay.
Because that's another one where, like, okay, we believed that the people that Chakotay was with were the good people, but it turned out they were actually the bad people.
They were all the bad people,
And then it turns
especially
out-
Chakotay.
And then it turns out that everyone sucks. But yeah, it's what would be amazing? What if Starfleet had like a rule where you're not supposed to involve yourself in the affairs of other civilizations?
But
Like,
how would they enforce this rule? Because people could break it if they wanted
that's
to.
true.
and
They'd
that's-
have to make it like the first rule, perhaps the prime rule,
primary rule.
the primary rule.
they even brought that up, and
Several times.
all went out the window when that ship fired on them for helping their enemies.
Look, we've known this since day one. The Prime Directive doesn't apply when one side has something you really want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they helped this. They
helped the wrong
They
side.
helped the wrong side. They helped the side that didn't have shit.
Well, see, Janeway didn't realize Harry was going to blow it. She was, looking really forward to getting some deuterium or whatever from the lizard
I think
men.
it was deuterium.
Yeah, so it's like...
and lithium as a bonus.
Yeah. Like, the thing, too, is it was just like... again, they're happily trading with these people without really knowing who they are.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and it's because no one ever does their homework when they come across a new species.
Yeah. And I get...
Any one of them could have been the actual space Nazis.
Yeah.
Or they could have all been space Nazis.
Yeah, and I get that, yeah, they have to work outside the usual boundaries a little because they are on their own. So they don't have the luxury of sitting there and figuring everything out beforehand. But
And
let's
they're
be
not
honest.
going to stick around
Right.
either. So it's
But
like, fuck it, I'm leaving. I
But
don't
let's
give a
be
shit.
honest. How many times in the fucking Alpha Quadrant have they pulled this same shit? Where it's
I
just
mean-
like, we do have the time and resources, but we're just going to say, you have a thing we want, so fuck it.
I guess here, technically, we can blame Neelix, though. So as much as I love Neelix, it's also fun to blame him for stuff. Because he's the ambassador. He's the one that does that. He's the one who does the research into different cultures in order to figure out what's going on and how to interact with them.
Well, yes, but again...
And he's
also,
good at it
he's
when he
not-
chooses to do it.
Well, or when the writers want him to do it.
Yeah.
Or also, again, like, how much time has he been given this? Again, again. You
Right,
know, that's
yeah.
always the issue. Is how, although this time they were parked on a planet getting repaired.
Yeah.
I like that there was a huge kind of defense in Neelix just now. I really like Neelix. Like,
he's-
don't get me wrong.
He's
but
grown on pretty much
Yeah.
all of us by this point.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Even
Yeah.
Caitlin.
Even especially
Once they
Caitlin.
dropped the like, I'm
Especially the
always
lies.
jealous about Kess thing.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that.
No, I like
Those
I've
scenes are
always-
awful, and thank God they stopped. But Neelix, yeah, as a character, he's also one of the more consistently written ones. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of what he does
Even-
is clearly informed by the background they've given him.
Yeah. Even Neelix at his worst is still better than almost any other character put into that really bad situation that shouldn't have been written in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his missing lung hasn't come up in a while.
Oh,
That's
that's right.
true. They
True.
did remember it once or twice.
They brought it up a few
Many
times.
times. It's come up a
Maybe
whole
at
lot.
this point, like, they've had enough time that the doctor was finally able to make him a
Make
replacement.
a new lung. His little baby lung grew.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's where the Borg baby went.
No! Actually, although, I'm joking
Borg
aside,
I don't hate it.
I
So
wouldn't be
it's gonna lie.
surprised if they did just use some of the magical nanoprobes
Yeah.
Well,
to
why
make
not?
it easier to
Oh,
make
yeah,
him a
when,
new lung.
when Seven brought him back to life for fun. Seven.
Oh, I
what?
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it happened.
That's what it is. It just regrew.
yeah.
Seven gave me a pill, I grew a new lung.
So, another issue with this episode. This is in the same vein as the plate of nachos in terms of
Yum.
complaints. Did the set decorators forget what musical instrument Harry Kim plays?
No.
that
He
was-
did mention at one point that he'd taken up saxophone.
We've never seen it.
No,
Why
that's
not
true.
also
but
have the clarinet?
Why not
then?
just have the clarinet?
yeah, I mean, I do think of that as his primary instrument. But
Garrett-
this was actually them being like, one point last season we mentioned saxophone.
That was a Garrett Wang request.
Oh, really?
Specifically.
Oh, really?
He didn't.
You think saxophone's
it
sexier
was-
or what?
Yeah, no, it was
Well-
actually it's even funnier. It's because saxophone was cool because of Bill Clinton.
You're kidding. That's
Oh,
great.
that's
okay,
the most
okay.
Harry Kim
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It might have been Garrett Wong that requested it, but it was Harry Kim who thought of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
no,
yeah,
like he specific. It was one of the few things the producers like okayed for
Wow.
him.
Wow.
He,
They
he
let-
wanted
they
wanted to change instruments explicitly to the
Oh
saxophone.
wow! They let Bob Picardo get away with whatever the
I was
fuck
about
he
to say
wants.
that.
That's because he never gave up asking, and he would just keep saying his ideas over and over and
Oh,
over.
Bob or saxophone?
Bob. Yeah. No, all the other actors just kind of got the hint and just stopped and were like, fine, whatever, they don't want to hear from me. Robert Picardo just kept going. Like, he just never stopped pitching.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That sounds very
Feels
much like
right for him.
Okay, all right, fine. I'll accept the saxophone then. But
But
I will say, as someone who played the saxophone for many years, saxophone is a fucking awful musical instrument. Especially, it's an awful musical instrument.
Lisa Simpson plays the saxophone.
It's a terrible instrument to play as a solo person. Like if no one wants to sit in their quarters blasting
Whoa.
fucking.
That iconic piece of Baker Street begs to disagree.
I mean, honestly, I disagree. I used to listen to a friend practice solo saxophone, and it was fucking awesome.
Was that friend Jake? Was it just that Jake is terrible at
Disagree.
saxophone?
No.
Disagree.
Wait, why would I enjoy listening to Jake play saxophone horribly? Your
That's
question
it.
doesn't make any
Nope,
sense.
it's-
Because he
Gone
practices in the buff and looks good doing it.
That's actually
Sure,
right.
I do a
Can't
great
attest.
sexy sax man.
I've kind of just sorry, I'm going through my notes and
Good.
I
That's fine.
just
That's
kind of
better.
realized a thing. How come Seven didn't realize what was going on? Seven's really smart and like kind of like
That's a good
attuned to
point.
things.
I think she was babysitting Kim. That's
she would have
why.
known that. Wait, this is not a medical ship.
She figured it out really quick, but was like, you know what? He's annoying me. I'm gonna let him work it out for himself.
They had Kim was like, but if you send another person with me, they will outrank me, so I won't be captain. And so they sent 7 of 9 because she doesn't have a rank.
And yet somehow she still outranks him.
Yes. Well, that's
Like
the thing.
hardcore.
That's the thing is that I don't think 7 of 9 would just put up with Harry Kim giving bad orders. Like
Well, I
she would
liked her
just
little pep talk.
She
Well, I
just
was gonna say, she kinda
there is
doesn't
that,
either.
That there is that later, but like I still feel like she wouldn't necessarily just follow orders.
I just figured, I know normally we try to like, oh, how could this have been better? I just figured a way this episode could have been worse.
Oh, good. That's fine.
Oh, no.
Janeway is like, all right, I'll send other ensigns. Get those 3 pricks from Good
God.
Shepherd.
Oh no!
She pulls Harry aside. If you can get that one killed during this, that would be Boffo. And I can't think of his name, but you know the one I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah,
one.
the bad
Not
one.
not
The one we all wanted to see die.
So
Bug. No.
Yes, Bug, you're right.
So there's a couple things having to do with the cloaking device.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't Voyager get one?
Yeah. Well, maybe they only
Let's
had
add that-
one.
let's
Sounds
add
like
that-
was a prototype.
Let's add that to the list of how come they haven't grabbed a transwarp coil every time they've come across Borg wreckage.
I've got this weird memory that I really can't tell if I dreamed it or not last night.
Good.
I've been taking a muscle relaxer, so my dreams have been getting very strange. Did they say that they were giving the cloak to other ships already? Like that they had already started replicating them by the end of the episode?
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah,
I don't remember.
Like,
I'm not
at
gonna
the
lie.
very end, when
We've
they-
all had that
So
dream, Rossi,
yeah,
so yes.
so assuming that was in the episode and not a dream I had, it seems like it's really easy to proliferate this technology. So maybe Voyager could have gotten a couple.
Well, here's the thing: the Treaty of Algernon. For that.
Right? Yeah.
At the end of the day, there is no way that every Starfleet vessel doesn't have a copy of like technical schematics for cloaks in their files.
Oh yeah.
They just
I'm pretty sure
choose
they
not
probably
to.
could have started using it.
Oh, definitely.
The other part is they make a very big deal about how this planet has been blockaded, and in order to get around the blockade, they need to get ships that have cloak, right? Cool. So the
Makes
thing
sense.
is the cloak is to get around the blockade. While the ship is trying to get to the planet, there are sensors designed to detect cloaked ships that they had to avoid, otherwise they would be detected. So the planet already has countermeasures for the new technology of cloaking that was supposed to get around those get around the
Shepard
blockade.
Book is a couple moves
I
behind.
mean, we're
Right,
also
so-
still assuming that anything that they said was true, though.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's quite possible that they have a fleet of ships that they use to raid and pillage the bad guys' home world, and that they're just a bunch of bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like if they can already detect the cloak, it's not going to change your situation on the planet.
Yeah, well, I've got an answer for that. It's a bad episode.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I really
Dumb.
I really wish it could have been good. I really think that the Kim character
Deserves better.
Deserved a similar scenario that did everything right, whereas this did most of it wrong.
It just feels like this is insult to injury for him.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
It's like,
Yeah,
you're right, you will be ensign forever, and you don't even get a good episode about it.
What an awesome opportunity they could have had to like change up the story, make him actually heroic, make him competent, and then at the end, it's like you've earned this, and then he gets his pip.
Yeah.
What a
And
great
it felt like
ending.
a
It would've been
tease because
really
it came up
good.
so many times.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the character literally hops out of the script and says, "Why am I still an ensign? I would be promoted by now."
And even when they re-promoted Tom, he was like,
Right.
"Hello."
Yeah,
It almost feels like this is kind of a reaction to fans asking why is Harry still an ensign, and this is like, okay, let's make an episode about why Harry's still
Well,
an
you
ensign.
see, the reason is because he sucks, apparently.
Like I'm
We've
sure
decided.
fans were
We've
asking
decided,
the
yeah.
other week. Wait, when Tuvok's surely gone through Par and Far by now? Let's have an episode about that.
Speaking of
well, it's
unnecessary
not even.
beat
It's
plots.
just. It's not even an episode. It's a subplot in an episode.
But it
Yeah.
needed to have come up so fans would be
but it's-
appeased.
Yeah, they could have. They could have done.
fans. What a bunch
They
of
never
idiots.
give fans what they want.
They really
Give
could
them
have
what
done
they
this
need.
episode good. If
Strange
they'd done
New
it.
Worlds was what fans wanted, and they gave it to us.
Okay, that's the one exception.
It
Yeah,
is actually.
but
quite
I would
good.
love for them to
might
keep
fall
giving it to me.
apart. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I know. There's only one season.
Look, it's a good one season. We have it now forever.
Too quippy.
So it sounds like you guys might have been interested in what the original plan for this episode was. I don't
Was
know if
it
you
to
read
be-
about this.
I
Ross.
did not.
Was
Oh,
it to be
shit.
not bad?
Garrett Wong has said in some interview somewhere that I couldn't find because the link is dead. God
Yeah.
damn it.
The past.
That this episode was originally going to write Harry out of the series, and he would have stayed with those people as captain of the Nightingale.
Whoa.
And Garrett Wong basically said, like, I would have been, I guess, okay with it because since my name is still in the credits, I'm still getting fucking paid, no matter what.
Yes.
Alrighty, fair enough.
But I don't know if that would have been any good or if it would have felt really like insufficient for his character.
I don't know.
I think it could have. I think it could have been the completion of his character arc. I think, like, you know, like giving him like the heroic movement, like letting him really like finally show everyone like, no, I am more than you have allowed me to be.
But
know?
It's the one thing is like
His love for Tom, however.
that would be.
well, but
heartbreaking.
also like not just that, but I'm thinking like of any of the like sort of main cast characters, rather like. He feels very unlikely to be one of the ones to say, you know what, I am gonna not go home.
After 7 fucking seasons of this and getting as far as we have, you know what? Send me back to 37's planet with Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, like, I don't know who seems most likely, but he seems to be on the least likely end.
In a better show, that especially one that considered continuity to be a thing that existed, I think I know, right? I think he would have been a very good fit for that, because there's a lot of things are put on Harry Kim that he doesn't choose. Like there's that episode where Janeway's like, I'm disappointed in you, Harry.
My God,
I
that
expected
episode was bad.
better. You're my little golden boy. You know, and like having Kim push back against that and like kind of realize that, you know, it's like the structure of Starfleet isn't for me. Like it's like I don't like the choices everyone's making for me, thinking that it's in my best interest, you know, and having him push back and kind of come to the conclusion after a while where he's like, me not being an ensign isn't the problem itself, but it is indicative of the environment I'm in that is unhealthy.
But see, that would mean Star Trek would have to have a character willingly say Starfleet is bad.
Yeah, I know.
I was saying, well,
And they already like
The Maquis do that
I
all
was
the
just saying,
time.
this is sounding
but
very
they're bad.
Rolaren to me.
I was saying this is they only get to do
Yeah.
that very rarely, and they kind of used up most of that in DS9.
Yeah.
But even having like Wesley ultimately decide fuck it was a big deal, you know. Now it would have made a little more sense if in that earlier episode it had turned out Harry really was actually part alien.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then if that had been
Favorite son.
if that had been true, and then he's like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I don't actually have a connection to Earth. It turns out, then it would make a little more sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if any of them seem terribly like, sure, I'll stay behind.
Not really, but
Yeah.
Captain Mom probably just wouldn't let them.
No, that's true. Well, I guess 7, like, I could see her with the right impetus, because Earth means nothing
I
to
could
her.
see her leaving. I could also see Janeway being like, no, you're a vital resource on my ship.
Yeah,
I need
well,
you
yeah,
to stay.
Yeah.
We need your nanoprobes. I mean,
Yeah.
you...
Or the Doctor,
Yeah.
because again, Earth really means nothing to him.
Yeah, but like the Doctor has tried to leave
Yes.
several times.
Many
Yes.
times.
Several times.
Well, Kim's kind of tried to leave a couple times, hasn't he?
No, there was just really only favorite son, and then that turned out to be...
Yeah, he changed his mind real fast.
Death,
But
because it was death by Snoo
Well,
Snoo.
also, like, sometimes
He gave it a C still, though. It's kind of like...
sometimes he just sees a broad he likes, you know? And
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Was that? Yeah, that was this episode where Paris is like, "It's a girl, isn't it?"
Yeah. And he's like, for once, no.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Even he
My
knows.
girl is the ship Nightingale now.
He just spontaneously grows like a sea captain beard and gets one of those little hats.
Naming it the Nightingale seemed a little precocious to me, because it was like,
Yeah.
these are... What are they fucking called? These are Kraylor people. You're naming it after a Terran thing.
Well,
what are you doing here?
It would have been great if Harry Kim was like, I'll name it the Nightingale, who's named after an Earth woman who helped people on the battlefield, and the aliens are just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Just
the thing is,
don't
they
care.
were.
They're just like, well, no, I think one of them said it was like a good, like a fitting name.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
But
Without-
also, they're
without
probably, just
knowing
like,
the
they're probably like,
story.
oh, he thinks this is a medical ship. What a dope.
Yeah, that too.
I saw online the other day, it was like, one of those reposts from Twitter or Tumblr or something, where somebody was like, humans. So, great that we formed this little club. So what do you guys usually call your ships? And they're like, just serial numbers. It's like, so you don't care what we call them? No, go nuts. So we can, name it after our own people in battles and stuff? Yeah, sure, whatever.
The Libby.
So, this was that personified.
Yeah.
The Libby, oh god. The show forgot she existed.
Thank goodness.
That would have been nice. Wouldn't have been thematic, but
No.
it would have been nice. The very beginning when the ship was on land to do repairs, that looked kind of cool.
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
liked.
I always like seeing
It was a
Voyager
cool
on
concept.
There was one moment where the camera moved a little so you could see its silly little feet, and it was just
Yay.
adorable.
It does
Which
occur
I know
to me,
they
though,
usually try to hide.
that Voyager has not gone through a Baryon sweep, as far as I know.
Oh yeah, no, it is
Ooh,
It is
way
loaded-
overdue.
Loaded with
Yeah.
Baryon. And then if
Yeah.
they did, then Tuvok would have to try to take over the ship and
He
steal some
would.
shit.
Well, that's actually, see, that's what it should have been. In that episode where he'd been Manchurian candidated, they also should have been at an alien space dock to get a Barian sweep.
I like to believe that no matter where you go in the galaxy to get a Barian sweep,
Tim Russ is just there.
Tim Russ is there to steal shit, and the person that runs the station is just is going to talk your ear off.
Aww.
Our hero.
Okay, with an H. Hutch. Good old Hutch.
Hutch
Almost said
lives.
Hunch. I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Hutch lives.
He doesn't, though.
No, he lives. We never saw a body.
Oh, good point.
I thought we did.
No, it was in a cutscene. We talked about it at the time.
So
Oh,
it's
shit.
not canon.
Yeah,
Hutch
there we go.
lives.
Hutch, he could totally be brought back at any time.
He needs to be in Prodigy. Hutch must come back.
That feels more like a Lower Decks move.
It does.
Actually, that would be really good.
No one would get the reference.
He could be on the Prodigy as the emergency conversational hologram.
That's
I want
great.
that now.
That's good.
All right, next one. No
Check.
segue. Fuck you.
Check and check.
Thought you were gonna say check engine. I was like, oh.
Oh, is this the consequences of my decisions?
I like that. There we go. Title.
Oh, I was gonna say everyone is trying to leave the fucking Voyager.
Or that. So next up in Flesh and Blood. It's a twofer, but not really. We'll get into that. We talked about it a little. Maybe that got cut. I don't know. We will find out. But
You already have found out.
we see some Hirogen. Haven't seen them in a while. And they're off on a killing spree. I mean, a hunt. And they're going through, it's like, oh, it's all tense. And then some fucking phasers start shooting out of a lake, which was actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
Mer
that was
people.
neat.
Fucking Apocalypse Now ass shit.
I prefer Ames's read on that.
Oh,
situation.
no.
Don't
that-
get into a fight with the mer
It's
people.
that terrible TAS episode. Sorry, that was redundant. It was that TAS episode.
Nice.
But yeah, and then some Starfleet people pop out of the water, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Well, what the fuck is going on is that, remember last time we saw the Hirogen, Janeway was like, here's holotechnology, maybe your society can stop sucking. Well, turns out, no, it still mostly sucks.
It sucks
But-
more in a new way.
Yeah, because they were like, just killing holograms isn't enough. The holograms have to be sentient and feel pain and know they've died over and over and over. So the holograms, predictably, rebel, murder a bunch of Hirogens, steal a ship. Sounds good to me. You know, the Enterprise, Jesus. Voyager intercepts a distress call from this Hirogen holo ship. They work out, what's going on. The Doctor is kidnapped by them, actually, to help repair their programs.
Yeah,
'cause,
it's another
like,
critical care. It's like,
Yeah.
come over here and work in our hospital.
yeah, and he's like, okay, but in the first time this hasn't just been a joke. I'm a doctor, not an engineer. And they're like, oh, but surely you fixed your own program. And he's like, yes.
Yes.
Every time I've modified my program on my own hasn't gone horribly, horribly, horribly wrong.
Do you guys want to be Jekyll or Hyde? Both.
I was just gonna say yes.
They force their memories on him, like in that other episode. You get Memorial, thank you.
Memorial. Yay.
And he's like, wow, your lives did suck. And eventually he decides he's gonna live with them. But
Talk about some Stockholm syndrome.
Meanwhile, though, Voyager's, met up with some of the Hirogen, and they are like, we know what you've been doing. We found a way to remotely turn off the holograms. We're not going to help you kill them or whatever and stuff. And, what's the leader's name?
Aiden,
right. And Aiden's this Bajoran dude who kind of was the first one to sort of break out of this. And he, has been going around liberating other ones
yes.
and all that. And the Doctor gives him stuff to be like, all right, just promise you won't kill any of my friends, but here's how to fight away their weapons, and also
Here's how
I'm
to kill
joining
my
you.
friends.
Yeah.
But don't do it.
It's all
he
very
promised.
like, this
He
and
did
that.
promise.
Anyway, the episode chickens out, and in the last 15 minutes, Aiden is suddenly a demagogue who wants to be the, hollow Jesus.
Whoa, did you want this to be a 3-parter, Chris?
No, I wanted it to not be fucking mealy-mouthed, is what I wanted.
Wow.
Mealy mouth.
Chris
so yeah.
not pulling any punches tonight.
Yeah, so, needless to say, they get to the, homeworld. On the way to this homeworld they want to have, they murder some living people to liberate some other holograms. It turns out these holograms are basically,
Calculators.
Yeah.
They're F8s.
Yeah, they're not even TI-83s. They're, scientific. They're 10-digit calculators at best.
You can write boobs on them, though.
True.
They're Casio calculator watches.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah. So they get to the world and they decide they're gonna do to the Hirogen what the Hirogen did to them, and the Doctor has to kill Iden and whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you on the. This episode really shit the bed at the end, didn't it?
It shits the bed through the entire episode. It's just like it's 18 different episodes that we've fucking already seen, and it's just doing them all worse.
Well, I do love a
Cardassian hologram lady.
Oh yeah, she was
great.
hot. I mean, great.
Well, also just the idea of like, I blatantly violated the Prime Directive to give the Hirogen this technology, and of course they've abused it and created a slave race, and well, I'm not going to take responsibility for this, so let's just destroy them.
Yeah, like, and the thing, the whole episode, I was like, please don't do what I think you're going to do. Please don't do what I think you fucking did it. Ooh, you cowards! Because
they didn't use the puppet.
Like, it is like the ultimate sort of bigot bullshit concept that, like, the people we've treated badly their whole lives, if they suddenly gain equality, are going to just do to us exactly what we did to them. And the show fucking did it. And that is bullshit, cowardice.
It
pissed me off.
It's very bad because, like, they make a lot of references to slavery and, like, you know, it's like,
we're their family.
Yeah.
That was the other one, but yeah.
But, like, the problem is like one of the like justifications for slavery was that, like, it's like Africans are like practically violent subhuman.
Yeah.
You know, like these awful, like, you can't trust them, they're dangerous, like we're keeping them in check to give them better lives and all this stuff. And then in the show, you know, it's like the slaves free themselves and then instantly are like murderous and, you know, violent and out of control.
Yeah. I was so livid.
Yeah. The same thing happens in BioShock Infinite, like the video game.
Yeah, they really shit the bed there too.
It's pretty gross.
But let's be honest, like, Star Trek does have this sort of unfortunate history of that, because, like, you know, everyone's favorite meme is, you know, when did Star Trek get woke? And they show a picture from the, like, Black and White People episode.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, the actual, like, lesson of the episode was that both sides overdid it and destroyed their planet. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? And, like, all right, fine, 1968, I'll give you the stupidity. This is 2000.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, it's like the neoliberal thing where it's like,
Exactly.
it's violence, so it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, it's like the only, like, it literally kind of feels like Star Trek would rather have like been like, well, maybe if the holograms had gone through the courts and believed in the system, then they would have been able to get their rights and everything could have been done peacefully.
This is why, even though ultimately the execution was so bad, one thing I really appreciated about the first season of Picard was that it felt like a lot of the theme was 90s neoliberalism actually kind of failed and got us into a lot of our current messes. And so when Star Trek pulls this 90s neoliberal bullshit, it really rankles me.
Yeah.
It's rankled.
Yeah. It's so, like, I don't know what the lesson is in any, like,
bad.
At any
it's
point.
bad.
Like, it's just, like, unfocused, you know, at best, you know. Like, I'm willing to allow some space for maybe they didn't fully understand the implications of what was being written, but, like, it really just kind of seems like maybe the lesson is, like, don't make sentient holograms, maybe.
Fuck you,
because
Vic.
yeah
Vic started all this.
What really bugged me too was, like, how clever some of the writing was.
Yeah.
Like, it was so appropriate that the first one to be like, fuck this noise, was the hologram based on a Bajoran.
Yeah.
That was
Yep.
I love that. That's great. Oh, he's religious because he's Bajoran.
One of the first scenes we see of him is him going and you know, lighting his candles and doing his Bajoran stuff.
But then, again, like, out of fucking, they didn't even seed the fact that he wasn't normally religious, but in fact a crazy fanatic who wants to be Holo Jesus. It just out of nowhere.
So for people who, like, Caitlin, this was the first time you watched it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did Iden, the leader hologram, did he seem scummy to you at first? Do you know?
He had that face.
I knew it was coming, so I was putting it on him or catching
I
it.
think I kind of trusted him because
Okay.
I kept mistaking him for being. At first, I was like, "Is that Belial?"
That's the thing. Yeah. Why did they get an actor that looks so much like the guy that played Belial?
Well, so
It would have been really cool if they'd been based on actual characters and you just pulled in a whole bunch of like tertiary or background
Imagine if
characters.
That
like
would've
Wei-Yun popped up, you know?
Yeah.
That would have been fucking great.
Yeah, that would have
actually.
been so fun.
But no, I didn't think he was scummy.
Okay.
So,
I
alright.
did think that it was. I thought the religion piece was weird, but then I was like, well,
He's
I guess
Bajoran.
well, yeah,
It's in
but
the
he's,
program.
but he's also a hologram. So
Well, yeah, but it's But to your point, James, actually, I pretty much didn't see season 7 of Voyager.
Yeah.
So all of these, it's my first time through too. And yeah, like I was just like, he didn't seem bad. When I saw what the plot was going to be, I was like, they're going to turn him bad at some point, aren't they? But I wasn't necessarily I didn't know it was coming at first. So he definitely, he just felt like a cool dude.
I was honestly shocked when, EMH gives them the shield codes and all this thing so that they can prevent themselves from getting turned off. And it says, can you not use this to hurt my friends on Voyager? And they're like, yeah, it'll be fine. And then they don't do it. And they only use it to not get themselves turned off, and then they leave. And I was shocked. Like,
yeah, that
wow.
definitely
I mean,
seemed
they
like
did
a deal
kidnap
that should have
B'Elanna.
gone wrong.
They did kidnap B'Elanna.
Yeah.
But that's because the doc had talked her up so fucking much. It was his fault.
Yeah, like even if just more than just the Cardassian lady had been like, Iden, wait, what?
Yeah, so that's a huge problem I have. Is so all of the holograms are kind of based on existing ideas. So there
was a Breen.
Yeah.
But this one changed nothing.
That's right.
Oh, no,
There
he
was
changed
there was a
everything.
good Breen. There was a Gem Hadar who I don't know if Voyager would have known about when they
I think
gave.
they would have known because the Jem'Hadar appear at the end of season 2 or season 3 of DS9. I think
But how much data would they have actually
I don't
had
know how
on
much they
them?
would
Yeah, the thing I don't know if they would have been like, here's the physical specifications of the Gem
I
Hadar in
thought
case
about
you
that too.
see any.
And the other thought I had is that they had been in contact with the Alpha Quadrant. At least some.
That's true.
Right,
Maybe...
but I just don't know if they would have passed
made
that along.
Made it through the grapevine.
Anyway, regardless of that, so the hologram characters still have a foot in these human templates. I don't think all of the Starfleet human holograms would throw their weight behind the, it's like the religious fanatic leader.
Yeah.
Well,
I also would have liked, I like that they did have the Simon Tarsis character. I don't
Weiss.
Weiss
Or Weiss?
Weiss?
Weiss or Weiss. I forget if we hear it, but I wrote it
the
down.
Starfleet red shirt guy. I kind of like that he was kind of seemed like the more militant one. It was kind of pushing not Belial to oh, shoot him, let's kill him.
Yeah.
But like you said, too, he's also the one that specifically said, not all of us are, programmed with religion.
Yeah.
But apparently he's gonna follow Holo
He
Jesus.
explicitly said, I'm not religious, though. And then he follows the guy who says, I'm the new religion.
I'm your god now.
Part of the religion is murdering Hirogen, which he's down with. So he's like, fine, whatever.
That was the other thing is it's kind of interesting and a little bit against a lot of other Star Trek showings of that basically turned into a cult, right? Mm-hmm. Is all of the holograms except for the Cardassian seemed really into killing biological beings. It didn't seem like what's his name? The leader, it didn't seem like Iden pushed them and or tricked them into becoming more and more hateful of biological
But their
beings.
program is also adapting.
No, and
time.
I do get that, but it's what I'm saying is usually in these kinds of things the people are kind of hapless and just followers, right? But it really seems at the end when they're they're hunting the Hirogen down, all of the holograms are really into it.
Yeah.
Where you didn't need Iden. If you had removed Iden from the equation, they still would have gone down this path.
Well, y'all remember
they weren't led astray.
It was in Equinox where we meet evil MH.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the second we turn our normal EMH's ethical subroutines off, he's just as evil as anybody.
He's evil.
Well, that's
He
because...
did fucking experiments on Seven for fun.
Well, imagine if Louis Zimmerman had no ethics and was a biologist instead of a hologram guy.
Yeah. I mean, Zimmerman doesn't have a lot of ethics.
True, but luckily he's also not a biologist.
But I don't know. It does irk me. I wish that they had not done. I feel like with a different final
15 minutes.
15 minutes, this could have been a good, if not great, episode.
Yeah.
But it couldn't decide what it wanted to be about, and it chose the wrong answer.
The topics it brings up, like the idea, like when we first see, oh my god, the holograms have taken over a ship. I just wrote down, this is fucking cool.
Oh yeah, super awesome.
Like, what are the implications there? These are holograms. They were constructed to be prey, like our good friend the Tosk, who we talked about last week. And
there should have been a Tosk.
hey,
that would have been nice.
That would have been pretty funny. Because
He would have like sabotaged their efforts. I feel like that's why you can't have a toss.
What? I like being hunted.
He's like, this is for my honor.
That's right. Yeah.
Wait, I can die how many times?
Oh, no.
Yeah. If they had just made an army of Tosks, no one would have been sad.
I'm sorry.
I would have been sad.
I'm sad that they didn't consult the residents of Fairhaven over this situation.
No, we turned them off.
Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
Michael Sullivan leading this.
Imagine if they didn't have the Bareil character, but instead they're like, here, listen. That's how they can get right off, even though they don't need to write him off. But that's how they could write off Michael Sullivan's like, listen, we have this crew of holograms that they don't really know how to exist in the world, and you do. So why don't you go and be like the captain of the hologram ship? And then he does, and then he creates, and then he gets radicalized by them and creates the new IRA.
Jesus Christ!
An Irish rebel leader is a bit on the nose.
And then he gets promoted faster than Ensign Kim.
Yes, and then
True.
Exactly.
He goes into their database and just makes a squadron of Chiefs O'Brien. to help him.
Can you imagine
It'd be
if
unstoppable if you did that.
like the holograms realize that like wait, they've got a holodeck and they have how many holographic programs in there, and just took all of them, like the thousands of holographic personalities.
Yeah, well, they must only be able to detect running holograms.
Yeah.
It's like otherwise, there'd be Da Vinci, there'd be Lord Burleigh.
No.
If we had gone
He's so good.
full fucking Blazing Saddles at the end, and just like every hologram you can find, there's just a big dust up. At one point, Tom is fighting Captain Proton, so he's playing both of them.
Can you imagine,
Well,
like, they get, it's like, it's on, like, a different planet where, like, humans can also be, and, like, the Jem'Hadar are like, oh my god, they're fighting, and then Tom Paris shows up, and they're like, what are you gonna do to help us? He's like, I brought friends, and just, boom, like, pouring in behind him is every holodeck character we've seen so far.
I'm towing mines.
This is such a better episode.
It's so good.
Now, there was a couple weeks ago, there was that society that hated photonics.
Oh,
Yes.
the Lokiro.
Yeah.
Didn't they mention that?
They did.
Okay, that's
The
right.
doctor was like, yeah, we met them. Didn't like them.
Nope.
They
Yeah.
suck.
Remember the people who... Oh, God, I don't remember the people, but the hologram Dejarin who tried to kill the fuck out of Torres.
Yeah, that crazy boy. Oh, and I was thinking about it. They
Torres is
actually
being kidnapped.
they met the Hirogen in part because they tapped into that network they'd been using, and that's when they got the first data dump from.
Yeah.
So they had stuff about the Dominion War by that point.
Yeah.
That also reminds me, how long ago did we meet the Hirogen?
A while.
Oh,
I think they jumped.
How many jumps have they done?
At least one, I think, if not more.
But
the
they
10
also,
light
the
year.
Hirogen also have that network.
Yeah, so they are
can-
pretty spread out. Maybe.
I guess.
But how did But they broke the network.
They fixed it. I don't
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to fix it. It wasn't even theirs. They just
The Hirogen,
they just stole it.
Listen, the
They
Hirogen
stole
are
it first.
absolutely incompetent at everything except traveling.
They're really good at making really fucked up holograms.
They actually have transwarp drive. They just haven't told anyone.
Yeah.
I liked our new friend Donick,
That was
the
Kardashian?
technician.
I liked him.
No, he was the Hirogen technician.
Oh,
Who we
he was
found because he had survived the,
beta.
holo ship.
Yeah.
Beta male.
So he was
Beta
way.
cuck.
He wasn't even a hunter. He didn't even get a Greek number.
What's crazy
He's
though,
only 5'11" or whatever.
when you think about it,
He's
they-
so tiny, right?
He was just normal height compared to the normal.
Well, I meant for, like, a
Hirogen.
Hirogen.
imagine
Yeah.
if the main Hirogen were still 8 feet tall like they were for 2 episodes. Yeah, no, he was fun. It's funny, too, because when you think about it, like, they've only had this tech for a couple of years, so up until a couple of years ago, they were trying to make him into a hunter.
Herbie doesn't want to hunt prey. Herbie doesn't want to hunt prey.
Nice.
He wants to be a dentist.
I'm gonna guess Bob's Burgers.
No,
Rudolph.
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 Herbie
Herbie just doesn't want to make
Never
toys.
seen.
Really?
What?
This has come up before.
Has it? Well, I fucking have just repressed the memory that you haven't seen Rudolph because I can't imagine.
How, did you get that one Community episode then?
You know what we're doing this Christmas? We're doing a 10 forward on Rudolph.
We're not. You guys go ahead. Have fun.
What's his name again?
Donick.
Donick.
And I actually, when he and Kajal, the Cardassian woman,
Thank you, Kajal.
they go off on a space adventure together, and I want to watch their show.
That would be kind of fun,
it'd be
yeah.
cute.
Was that... I didn't think to look up anybody. Was he anyone under there that we've seen before?
If he was, I didn't check. I only knew Simon Tarsus because...
Yeah, what's that? Jake mentioned that. I know the name, but I
Oh,
can't
he's from
think
the Drumhead. He was the
He was
half
the-
Romulan kid.
That was the...
Yeah.
Holy
The
shit!
red shirt.
Wow!
It would have been cool if they tried to get other people that had been on the show before for the other.
But it wasn't. But he wasn't actually.
Simon Tarsus.
No,
the
I
same
know,
guy.
but still, like the visual.
But the fact that you said that, though, now I do wish, like, they could have brought back Hogan and Suitor, your boy
you said,
Suitor.
You
that
said
would be-
that.
Vance Armstrong was in it.
Vaughn
Vaughn Armstrong, thank you.
was one of the heroes.
He was the Hirogen that when they saw the fucking decoy ship like fools, he's like, "Let's attack!" And then he gets blown his ass up.
But as I say, like you could say that about most episodes of Star Trek. Like, oh, there's Vaughn Armstrong
Yeah.
under several pounds of makeup.
He's in a lot.
They could have brought back Seska again.
Why are we talking about bringing back people to be holodeck characters?
Well, they
James
could have
mentioned
based
it.
the holograms just on
just
on
thought-
existing.
I don't think Hirogen would because I don't think.
Well, just because we're already in the
That makes
database.
Why would
so-
they design new people?
Yeah, like, if anything, I'd imagine they'd just
To
be
give
lazy.
useless
Like,
beta
yeah.
cucks a
I would-
job.
in
Hello.
fact, if anything, it should just be like it should be like Captain Proton or Chaotica, right? Like Chaotica should have been the leader of the fucking
That would have been good.
because that would be a character that was in the holodeck. That
Yeah, but I don't. What exactly did Janeway give the Hirogen?
she gave them.
She didn't give them individual programs.
I think she gave them the whole database.
She,
Well, that's
she
the
must
holodeck
have because
shit.
they had Klingons
Yeah.
and they had all these other species.
So they had the race.
So
library.
they had the race library.
So that's the
for
thing, is, like,
sure.
I think she
including
just...
their culture, like
Yeah,
everything.
that's the thing that really doesn't work. Because I think all they said was, here's holodeck technology. But now it's been retconned to also, I guess, our history? Well, okay, actually, wait a minute. I fixed it. She didn't give them that, but they had it from that period where they had taken over Voyager.
Okay.
So she did just give them
Or-
holotech,
Or-
but they
or-
had all these files.
That's
Okay,
right.
fixed
Well,
it.
then
Yeah,
it should have
because
been. Then
they
it should have
did-
just been like French people.
Well, no, presumably while they were... Because they even said that was one of many programs they had run. So they had probably copied their database at
That's
that
true.
point.
They did do Klingons too.
Yeah, so that... Okay, I've made it made sense. Make
Yeah.
sense. Potentially. Your mileage may vary, listener.
So they,
slightly
I guess-
more sense.
Yeah. That explains why there's a Borg.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they could have had the Borg. Just I don't know. Like what would that Borg be like? It's mostly Borg, but it's still like breaking out of its programming to
Yeah.
become something more.
It should just be
It's
sitting in the
like-
corner lonely.
Yeah, it's like
I
it's
can't
quiet.
hear anyone.
It's quiet.
What terrible fucking prey the Borg must be. They just lumber around. They won't really defend themselves.
But they adapt.
But they adapt.
If there's more than one of them.
Yeah.
The first one you kill, the second one's like, oh, that's how you don't get killed.
Like I can imagine like the Hirogen like reading through the catalog of different preys they can do. Like, ooh, Borg, that sounds badass. Let's do that. And then it's just like
Awful.
Oh.
Yeah.
resistance is futile. Okay.
the Borg assimilated Zap Brannigan early on and just sent wave after wave of their own men at the enemy.
They did it.
The Hirogen just yelling at the Borgs like, maybe you should hide.
It sucks. Let's play Tribbles. Just waves of fur come at you. Ah!
It's a terrible way to go, Chris.
It is.
What else have I got? So we start off the very tippy top of the episode. We've got, the slightly less tippy top is the EMH wants to go to this symposium because he loves being the center of attention. And I don't know, it was him being insufferable again, and I can't fucking stand it. And I used to freaking love the EMH as a character, and now I'm just like, God, you're the whiniest prick.
See, but I was still kind of... Because he was like, I don't know, surely there's some anomaly you can look at. And, yeah, there have been plenty of times where, we're going to dick around in an anomaly because, B'Elanna wants to go to a thing, or Chakotay wants to build a fucking tub, or...
He can do that on the show.
she has done it before. He's not asking her for something she has not happily provided to her fucking people
To
crew.
her actual crew.
Right.
Yeah.
And
She's
in a way,
still-
it's a perfect way to set the scene, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is still a huge holo racist.
It is consistent, unfortunately, because you'd
Yeah.
think she would have gotten over this ages ago.
Nope.
In that particular case, though, it was Chakotay who said no.
Well, true, but you know she wouldn't do.
Oh yeah, she would have said no too.
Like, he said no, because I'm not even...
He asked the captain, and the captain sent Chakotay to say no.
Yeah,
He didn't even want to
exactly.
Deal with it.
Yeah, you be the parent today. I do appreciate that at the end, she was kind of taking responsibility, sort of being like, all right, I'm not going to yell at you because this is my fault too.
That apology, kind of apology at the end, felt really weird because she was like, it's like, when I activated you and let you do your own thing, I didn't think about the consequences. Like, I didn't think about the consequences here, and it got a ton of people killed. It's like, why is she's kind of comparing the Doctor to what just happened.
She deeply regrets letting him be an individual.
Yeah.
A little bit. She's right.
Yeah. I also another thing I'm not crazy about is at the end of this episode, I don't get the impression that the Hirogen have learned a lesson.
Oh, they have definitely.
Oh,
done.
no.
And that they are definitely going to continue creating holograms to torture.
Yeah,
you.
the
Which
lesson-
will eventually...
Yeah.
Like, we're going to
It'll
find
cycle
out
back.
that the Hirogen have gone extinct because they kept creating holograms that kept rising up.
Like that should actually be the big bad in like some future Star Trek. Is like the Borg have been completely wiped out in the Delta Quadrant and replaced with a fucking hologram of just various Alpha Quadrant races.
Can these hologram escape folks, liberated hologram society, program more of themselves?
Let's see why not.
Presumably in
So they
time,
can
at
basically
least.
they can reproduce.
Yeah, they're like
They
Grey
could-
Goo, but
I mean,
like...
they
Take
could-
over.
They could probably reproduce their code and DNA. You could maybe mix the DNA, the code a bit. You know, it's like the different subroutines or
Well,
whatever.
apparently you can-
to get slightly differences, or you just make copies of yourself.
You can apparently
just make more copies of yourself.
transplant code like an organ,
Mhm.
as we discover. So.
I think if you pulled down their pants, they would have little USB ports.
Why?
That's how they reproduce.
Don't like you.
Gotta get a USB-C to USB-C cable though.
Mm.
I don't know. I had nothing to add.
Did this have to be a two-parter?
I will say, as far as a lot of their two-parters go, this one didn't lose momentum.
Well,
yeah,
again,
I
though,
didn't
that's
even
because
notice where
Didn't
the
have
break
any
would be.
momentum.
Well, I think again, this one was written and originally presented
Yeah.
as a feature-length
Yeah.
episode. So,
But
it's-
even so, though, it's still extra long
Yeah.
and did not suffer.
But I do think that a lot of the two-parters suffer because they have to like pick up. Oh, this is where the break
True,
is. And
true.
We're gonna have to, and like they, even though they don't stand on their own, they kind of have to at least be entertaining on their own.
There has to be an act break at a very specific point because we're out of week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They're not constrained by that here. And yes, you're also right, Ames. We're like, what did you say it? Caitlin, one of you. I'm not clear where the break would have
Oh,
been
Ames
for
said
when
it.
they turn it into a two-part.
There's one scene where there's an awkward fade out, I think, or an awkward break where it is in a scene, there's kind of a break, and then it's back in the same scene, and I think that was it, but it is practically mid-scene.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be when they abducted B'Elanna.
I think it's before then. I
You think
think
it's
it's
before then?
right when EMH transports over there after giving them the code. And then it starts up with them still in mid-fight, and then they take B'Elanna. I think that's where it ends.
I think that's...
That
yeah.
would sort of work, yeah. Because otherwise, it does feel like it would be kind of like, when you have to switch to disc 2 of the Two Towers, and it's like, there's no good place for us to do this, so we're just going to do it here. Whereas with the first and third movies, they managed to find a place, yeah, this is a good place for a little break. But they just couldn't find it with 2.
Why are there 2 discs?
I don't know. They still do it,
That's
even
really
with the
stupid.
Blu-ray releases where they
Really?
can.
Can charge more.
Yeah.
We watch it on streaming where it's one piece, so it
Yeah,
makes sense.
HBO Max got the full.
Max.
Oh, that's good to know.
Oh yeah, just Max.
Just Max now.
I will say when you're doing a marathon of them though, like it is nice to have the thing force you to kind of stop.
Fair.
It's like, all right, I'm going to take 5 minutes because I just got the okay.
Refill the popcorn.
Unfill
Unfill your
bladder.
bladder. Yeah.
I remember remembered this episode, and part of the reason I wanted to be on this episode is because I thought I liked it a lot more when
I
I
didn't
previously
hate it.
watched it. I don't hate
The
it. but
ending
it,
lets you down because, yes,
Yeah.
it was trying to make this interesting point about, hollow rights and what would a ship run by hollow people be like, and what kind of choices do you think the Doctor wants to make
Yeah.
with himself? All very interesting stuff. Like, the episode had me captivated pretty much throughout.
Yeah.
And also, fuck, I didn't kill that fucking guy. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit about him. As long as Kajala's okay, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
Kajala's the only one that didn't seem to be like a bloodthirsty monster.
I loved her.
Irony.
But the thing is, like, again, same thing, James. I was sitting there going, like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there the whole time, like, I like what this is doing, I like what it's saying, I like what it's doing. But the whole time, or, after about 15 or 20 minutes, I'm like, they better not do what I think they're gonna do. And then they did it.
Yeah.
And that ruined the whole thing in retrospect.
The episode in my head that I remembered is that the
Are you just remembering Captain Pursuit with Tosk?
No. The ship, like, the conflict had been going on for a lot longer, probably several years, and not only were the ships crewed by holograms, the ships themselves were holograms. And, like, that is what I remembered. And, like, I thought it was, like, completely different, basically. Whereas, like, there was essentially this, like, parallel society that had started to develop with, like, the holograms. And they were going around and liberating, but, like, it's like they also had, like, hologram ships. They were, like, really leaning into the hologram thing. And I was like, oh, none of that happened.
No.
Is that another episode?
Not that I know
remembering
of,
something
but-
different.
I also kind of thought, like, there was something just kind of cheesy about the way the Doctor killed Not Brile.
Yeah, just a gun.
Just like a big fucking, like, Rambo gun.
Yeah.
It's just like...
I like seeing Picardo running around with a big gun.
That's
that was,
fair.
That was
cool.
fun.
Like, that was cool. And, like he didn't have,
He
like...
just decides, fuck Hippocratic oath,
he
you
didn't
don't
have
count.
he didn't have a cool final line, like...
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cool off.
Chill out.
He did. There was the thing where he's like, it's like Aiden was like, oh, it's like you told me you weren't programmed with killer instinct, and Picardo's like, that was a long time ago.
It was
I've
day and a half.
adapted.
Yeah, well, no, it was because it was supposed to be there was a lot of stuff happening.
I know.
But the thing is we also already went through this discussion with the Doctor when he when he infected that guy with that rare disease on that
Yeah.
hospital planet,
Right.
and he was like he was checking his code looking for the problem, and he was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Why did I do that? Like talking to B'Elanna. And then this episode kind of ends with the same thing where
Yeah.
where Janeway's like, I was looking through your code to see if something was wrong with you, but nope.
And there was that other one, I think it was in... Oh, the one where Seven gets violated one of those times. Where he's the hypnosis on her and
Yeah.
decides...
Oh, that terrible episode.
And he decides
yeah.
at the end, like, oh, this was my doing, and I feel so bad. You should stop letting me advance myself or something. I
yeah.
think that was in there.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
it was just kind of like, when, I don't know, it just rang hollow. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Ah.
Hollow.
Yeah.
The other thing about this episode is it very much feels like somewhat of a rehash of the other episode where the Doctor and B'Elanna were taken prisoner by a deranged hologram and forced to do shit.
Yeah, but that episode was fucking great.
It was. But, like, to do basically the same thing here with the same characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also thought the way that Janeway and Neelix... God damn it, Neelix. You were having such a good day, and you ruined it by telling the Hirogen, like, oh, how about you not tell anybody about this? You just claim you killed all the holograms yourselves and take the glory. And the Hirogen are like, okay. It's like, that's how you ended
that
this?
feels more Klingon than it feels Hirogen. Hirogen, it feels like all the other
They need trophies.
Yeah, all the other Hirogen would be like, yeah, well, prove it. Where's like the shard from their holo projector? And he's like, I lost it.
All 300 of them?
Yeah.
Janeway can give him some fucking glass. It'll be fine.
I also want to know how have we not lost the mobile emitter yet?
No, right?
That fucking thing has been through so much and gone so far and been stolen so many times.
It's like 7,000th century tech or whatever. It's indestructible.
Yeah.
It's gotta, but
It's
not
made
just that.
of,
Like
it's
it can't,
made
like,
of Wolverine's
like it's
balls.
so small. You'd think it would have fallen, into a couch cushion at some point.
I don't see any couches, man. I haven't seen a single damn couch.
Couches everywhere. Janeway sits on a couch on the bridge.
Nope, there's no couch. Not a single couch. Just tubs.
Tom and B'Elanna sat on the couch when they were watching their old-timey
Yeah,
TV.
they probably did. That's true.
Janeway definitely has a couch in the ready room.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's couches.
Oh, speaking of Tom, I am still fucking pissed that he seems to be the only person with any medical experience.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he's in the middle of piloting the ship through some nefarious bullshit. Tom, head down to med bay. He's like, I'm in the middle of this. Okay, fine, bye.
I mean, I like him as the nurse, like, and
But
showing
they
up
should-
as the nurse, but there should be some other people
Like,
as well.
you feel like, all right, so he apparently was the one EMT guy. But by now, it's been 6.5 years. It
He wasn't
couldn't
even
be...
an EMT. He had, like, basic first
Yeah, I
aid.
know,
Also,
but-
we have definitely seen other blue shirts
yes.
milling around,
Well,
helping out during a
That's
crisis.
what I was going to say. Like, it can't be that hard to take, like, a biologist and be like, here is some first aid training. And they can go, oh, yeah, sure.
Learn
What
it on the
training?
holodeck.
Just show them what button to push on the fucking tricorder.
Yes.
There you go. You've got it. That's
Seriously.
it. It's literally going to tell you what you need. There.
Yeah.
Boom.
This.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
The Hirogen figured out how to make tons of fucking holograms. Do all kinds of shit. Make a bunch of fucking doctors.
Yeah, you'd think.
The sickbay already has holo emitters. Just,
Yeah, it doesn't-
Donnick is that good, and I love him.
well, then they should have hired him. Have
Nope.
him replace Kim.
They offered. They said, "Do you want to stick with us?" And he says, "No, I'm going to hang out with Kajal
They should
because
have
she's
brought
great
him- They
too."
should have brought them both on board.
I'm going to stay here because I'm pretty sure I can get lucky with her.
Yeah.
I ship him.
Well, I
Me
mean,
too.
yeah.
I ship her with
That gets
anybody.
a
I
little-
loved her. I, thought
I
she
loved
was
She
her.
was cool. She was good.
We,
It's a
you
little
and I,
weird
we have a
that-
Cardassian problem.
We
I think.
do. We'll talk about that shortly. As
I
well.
think I think
Good.
if anything, Kajal kind of shows part of the flaw of all of the characters going murderers.
Yeah.
Is that like she didn't
Right.
didn't it's like she didn't feel like she had to, like
No.
she wasn't comfortable with the violence or anything like
No.
that, and so like it just feels weird that you've basically got you have Kajal, who's an actual character, and then you just have like a bunch of like holo minions, more or
Yeah.
less, just following Iden like
Yeah.
unquestioningly.
And I liked her little scenes with Torres because
Yeah.
Oh,
Torres,
I loved them
the
together.
first
Yeah.
thing you see Torres take one look at Kajal and be like, "Oh, it has to be a Cardassian."
Yep.
Doesn't
Yeah.
it? I know you're not even real. You're not even a physical person, but it's gonna press all my buttons. And she's like, "Oh, well, you're a biologic, and I don't like them." They're like, "We're gonna be best friends, aren't we?"
Yeah.
And I love them together.
And she had the spoon makeup and the little,
Yeah, the neck
two
makeup.
random scales.
She was great.
Classic Cardi makeup.
Yeah, it would have been a different episode, but if they had more of the holograms be characters,
Yeah.
like maybe
if
if
they'd
they,
had the courage of their
yeah,
convictions.
if there was maybe some conflict between the holograms on their ideologies,
Yep.
and how they wish to act.
Mm-hmm.
Neato.
Boy, Iden sure was a villain.
Wow.
A bad one. Let's talk about good ones.
All right, so if y'all haven't followed the pattern already, so last week we were talking Deep Space Nine stuff. There's lots more Deep Space Nine related content today because we saw some Cardassians, we
Yep.
saw some Breen, which was fun.
Change everything.
I just love the sounds that they make.
Yes, they're just like growling, gurgling
Blah.
sounds.
Oh, wait. Very briefly.
Oh shit!
This is a Voyager villain. There was a piece of equipment on the holo ship bridge
Oh, you're wondering if it was the robot
from the think tank.
from the think tank? I thought so too, but I don't think it was.
Okay.
Or it might have been like a redress.
All right,
but
all right.
It might have been. Yeah, I would think that maybe it's a redress.
Well, yeah, like not
vaguely
exactly.
remembering.
Yeah, I had the same
research.
thought, and I was like, but I don't think it is.
Like I think maybe at the very least because I think it was more coppery.
yeah.
Then
It's
so
got a
okay.
pink
Yeah,
side.
I don't think it was that character.
No, it
Well,
definitely
yeah, not that
wasn't
kid, but like
it
I
was the same
think it may have
prop.
been the same prop,
Yeah,
possibly.
That sounds familiar.
It's
but
possible,
I also
but-
did this research a week ago. So.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I got us off track.
Oh shit, we did it. We did it already. Oh, but yeah, so we're talking more Deep Space Nine highlights. We're talking villains this week because there's goddamn so many good ones in Deep Space Nine. It's gonna be hard for us not to say just all the same three.
Quick question: when you say villain, bad person,
Adversary.
so specifically
Oh,
antagonist.
the adversary.
So specifically, they have to be an antagonist to our main characters.
Do you want to say Ben Sisko? You can say Ben Sisko.
No.
Ben
No.
Sisko is kind of bad sometimes.
He has his moments, yes, but no, that was not what I was thinking.
I love Ben
Well,
Sisko.
do you want to tell us more what you're thinking?
I was thinking Garrick.
Oh,
Dude, he does some fucked up shit.
he
'Cause
does
Garrick-
do some fucked up shit.
Garrick is a bad person.
Well, he also does villainous things. Like, he
Yeah.
also is an adversary sometimes.
Yeah.
He
Well,
tortures the fuck out of Odo.
Oh
True,
my god,
true.
that
Well, he feels
episode.
bad about it the whole time.
He
Oh,
does.
well, in that
Yeah.
case, that's all
He
right.
does. He does try to hijack the Defiant so he can blow up the changeling homeworld.
He kills that Romulan senator,
Freenac, yep.
and he
That
knew he was
help-
gonna
that
too.
was doing a help, though.
Well, I think,
yeah,
like,
it was, but
he does a lot of bad stuff that we forgive because it's for the good guys. But, like, at the end of the day, as we had said before, like, he's a true believer in Cardassia. And Cardassia is awful.
Amazing.
Like, at the end, we know, like, the Cardassia he was hoping to one day return to is gone. Like, he was down with fascist Cardassia. He is not, I mean, he's fucking an amazing character, but at the end of the day, not a good person.
and that's why little twink Julian is so like taken with him. He's been waiting his whole life for a bad boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So can I use,
Naughty boy.
can I say Garrick is a villain?
I mean, I
Why
think
not?
you just
Great.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You just justified the crap out of it.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I just needed to define if you meant specifically antagonist or villainous. So
Hell, I'd count Ben Sisko. So.
that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
He's a great bad man. Well, keep going.
Yeah, tell us
How
the
many?
rest.
Shit.
3.
Okay. Well, Garrick.
Garrick and Garrick.
Both Garricks. There's certainly more
Elam
than one
and
Garrick.
Garrick.
Garrick and the same two everyone else is gonna say.
What would that be?
Kai Wynn and Gul Dukat.
Damn it.
Oh, you stole it now.
I mean, all right, and you know, of course, obviously, since we're all just gonna say them, like special nods to the Wayuns and Damar and
Damar's not really a good.
oh, he's great.
Yeah, I love Damar.
He's
I
so
like
fun.
Damar too, but I feel like he's a terrible villain.
He
The
does-
only thing he does that like is kind of annoying is he kills Zial, but I'm kind of like,
Oh no, Zial.
I mean, you can never get attached to Zial. She's played by 8 different
That's
people in 3 different episodes, so it's no good.
And also, like,
Oh,
when
trying
the-
to force her and Garrick together.
My
Like,
what that was,
God.
like the show dropped that so
oh
fast.
man, what's his name? Are we allowed to say Rick Berman is our favorite
No.
villain?
That's where I'll draw a line.
He's our favorite
I-
villain for Voyager.
I once let you, as your favorite Klingon, pick the guy from the video game. We're not going Rick Berman.
Experience beige.
Son
I
of
mean,
a
no,
bitch.
that is just the right choice.
See, James gets it.
Does he?
I was actually kind of wondering if Gowron was a good pick
Why
for
not?
best
I think so.
villain.
I think you could definitely make that argument.
Make that argument, Caitlin.
Can you make the argument?
I mean, thank you, James. Go on, you can do it. Tell us why.
That scene from Jurassic Park with the egg.
Oh yeah, come on. The cute little raptor. Well, that's why, because he's a cute little raptor.
At some point, a tiny little baby Garrick popped out of an egg.
I don't know, man. He's just a piece of shit. He doesn't
Yeah.
like the.
Yeah.
He doesn't
He's-
like the Federation. Things are going well, and he decides he wants to show up and grab some glory, but he's gonna fuck it all up and lose the war.
He's conniving.
Big
He
time
goes
conniving.
against. He goes explicitly against Klingon like mores and values.
Let's
like,
be
and he's,
fair.
and he's in
He's-
blackface.
Yeah, that's
What's
really
not
bad.
to What's not to
Most
hate?
Klingons go against.
This is true, but I mean, like he very explicitly.
No, that's true.
like-
He really overdoes it.
If
Yeah.
Worf has to kill you, you've done it wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Gowron's a great choice, Caitlin.
Nice. Wayun's another one. I hate to say that he's a villain because he just doesn't.
But he is.
I know, but I
Really
love
villain.
him so much. But
All
what
the
about
Wayans
that?
except 6.
But what about
Right.
that other Vorta who is
Oh,
like
that
a
little shit.
sociopath?
Yeah.
What's his name?
The one they turned into a walking corpse, the Magnificent
Oh,
Ferengi.
Kevon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kevon is a.
Kevon was on my short list just
He's
because I
great
fucking
and
love
terrible.
him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's the fact that he like betrays his own men to
Oh,
Sisko.
he's such a
Fucking
little
big
prick.
time. He's the worst.
Yeah, he's awful.
Give them
Surprised
the
you
death
didn't
they
say
deserve.
Eddington. Wasn't this your big chance?
No,
or did you
Eddington
say that
isn't
shit
a
last
villain to
week?
Chris.
Eddington's a hero.
I mean, I get that Eddington's a bad guy, but at the end of the day, like, Garrick is so much cooler.
I'm still just surprised.
Here's the thing, if I had 4 slots, Eddington would have been there.
I was
I
thinking.
don't believe you.
I was thinking about Eddington, and I was trying to decide, like, what do the writers think of Eddington? Do they consider him a villain, or do they consider him like a
that's-
freedom, just like a good guy? Like,
That's a good
is
question.
Eddington a good guy in the writers' minds?
Do the writers know?
Because I feel like the writers make Sisko say he's a villain, but I feel like the stuff Eddington does doesn't really come off as villainous.
Yeah, it comes out of as just. Like
Right.
they go out of they bend over backwards to say he is in the right
Yeah.
in this Maquis way of his.
Right.
And they can kind of be a little distant. We're not really necessarily saying we agree with him, but we're giving so many good arguments for why
Right.
And
terrorism is okay.
It could even be that, like, maybe not all the writers were on the same page on Eddington.
I would
Definitely
love
true.
that.
This is what happens when your writers aren't cowards. You wind up with actually gray characters.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, I don't think I could put Eddington as a villain, even though Sisko absolutely treats him like a villain. Like, treats him as, like, his, like, evil counterpart.
And he
practically.
definitely...
His nemesis.
Yes.
His
white
whale.
whale.
Well, I'm saying, like,
Oh, yeah,
that's the
that.
thing is Eddington
Damn it.
definitely knows that Sisko sees him as bad and definitely hams it up in all their conversations.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
great.
I'm going to be exactly what you want me to be, Benjamin.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Now, why is he wearing cat ears?
Well,
No, he'd be in full fucking, what's that badge all the French revolutionaries wore
Oh.
called?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he'd be wearing a little tricolor thing and,
my third one's probably because
Are you counting Kevon? Is Kevon on your list?
yes.
Sweet, I love him.
I think if I had to choose between Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn, I would choose Kai Wynn.
I figured you would.
Because Gul Dukat is kind of like you were saying. Well, I don't know if he's a true Cardassian believer, actually.
he
I feel like
believes
Gul
in
Dukat-
himself.
I was gonna
He's
say,
a
I feel
Dukat
like
believer.
Gul Dukat is like very much, but it's kind of tough, right? Because I think that Kai Wynn and Gul Dukat both want to be like saviors of the Bajoran people
For different reasons.
for different reasons, and like I think the difference is that Gul Dukat might actually have drank his own Kool-Aid and believe that he did something great for them, and Kai Wynn can't even drink her own Kool-Aid because she never really buys into the prophets and the faith and like all that shit. So I kind of feel like that sort of makes her worse.
I think she
Damn.
buys into it. She's just like, I think she buys it, but she doesn't really feel it, right? Like,
She smelt it, but she didn't
She
felt it.
like she believes in the prophets because she hates them and blames them in the end.
well, she
That's
blames
good.
them because she's never felt connected to
But
them.
that's what
Right.
I mean, though. That's not real faith.
Yeah.
If you can't just like
That's
that's the
scorn.
thing about faith is you're supposed to just say yes, there is absolutely no proof, and yet I believe.
Well, I think
that's
it's
what faith is. You
It's
know,
not even necessarily she doesn't believe, it's just that she feels like she's owed more from them than she has gotten.
Yeah.
yeah, she sucks. She
She's
sucks, and I
so
love
bad.
hating that bitch.
She's so
She's the
bad.
greatest. I love her.
Yeah.
Love her, hate her, love her, love her. And she gets to bang Dukat, so
Yeah, she
that's
gets
a
all
nice
of it.
that's a nice feather in her villain cap.
And,
Literally sleeping with the enemy. Let me just write that down.
And he boned that guy from the Circle who was, fairly attractive.
The circle jerk.
Yeah.
Ah, you did it.
Who's next?
Rock, paper, scissors for you, Jake.
I'll just go.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
All right. So yeah, I did not choose Dukat or Wynn.
Oh, wow.
Holy, I
Good
was
for you.
counting on you doing
not,
so.
Not because I think there are better villains in there, but because I wanted to bring some originality and some levity to this list.
Levity.
This fucking guy.
Because, in no particular order, in Super Nintendo Kira.
That bad bitch.
I do not care for the Mirror Universe in D Space Nine. I made that very clear.
I remember you saying that many times.
But
Oh God.
I do like a Super Nintendo Kira because I don't know. I think more I like Nana Visitor being able to like chew the scenery.
She's having so much
She's
fun.
having a
so
lot of
much.
fun.
Like, it is hard not to
And-
enjoy what she's doing. 'cause you
Even
can
when
tell
they
she
glued
loves
those
it.
cones to her boob, she was like, you know what, fine.
Yeah.
And like, is she a great character? Is she a great villain? No, because all of her plots are pretty much.
But she's so fascinating to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
God.
very
Captivating.
entertaining.
And not to point out the obvious, but fuck is she hot.
I just love that she wants to bang
Big time.
Mirror Universe self.
Everybody.
Like,
Everyone.
she's so self-absorbed. She wants to bang herself.
Well, I mean, if I was her, I'd
I
also
know.
would want to bang myself.
All right, so with another familiar face, I'm gonna say Old Odo.
Oldo.
Yeah.
Odo.
Which-
Yep.
From
which
Children
one?
of Time.
Sure.
Oh, that
The one
Oldo.
that murdered everybody.
Okay.
Tell Kira, I want her to know it was me.
Yeah. Because
Wow.
he kind of lost his mind there, and You know, because you love an Odo, but yeah, sometimes he just murders people.
Well, because he's a fascist.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I
And
definitely
for-
thought of him too.
For that matter, I could also say young Odo.
Yeah, just Odo.
Really middle-aged Odo. Odo, when he's in the company of, like, the people on Deep Space Nine, is okay.
The only Odo that wasn't a fascist was the one that was in a cup that people didn't know was alive.
Right.
Oh, he formed a ball. Isn't that cute?
And then my last one is going to be Admiral Layton.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Layton.
Which one's that again?
Is that from
That's from Paradise Lost.
Right.
and-
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Excellent choice.
Yeah.
He's
One of the
horrible.
great badmirals on Jake's list.
He's a
Yep.
great Admiral.
Oh.
He's very, very bad.
I couldn't remember his name, so I just had him listed as Admiral Fascist.
Yeah.
I'm literally on my 3rd or 4th watch through of this series, and I don't know who this is.
He's the Admiral that when Cisco goes back to Earth in that 2-parter, and he's like, oh, we're going to orchestrate some false flag attacks.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Everyone's going to get blood tests every time they do anything to make sure you're not a changeling. Meanwhile, I'm probably a changeling.
He also wears a top hat and makes everyone solve puzzles.
Bad.
What?
And then
Sniff it.
just
That's
a little
Professor
honorable
Layton
mention.
joke, and I love it.
One little honorable mention I'd like to give out to my dear friend, Brunt FCA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just too fun to be a
He's just
villain.
too fun.
He's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
He's one of the fun villains.
Oh God, another honorable mention.
I
Not
haven't
Ben,
gone yet.
not Ben Cisco, but Dr. Noah.
Thought you were going to say Jake Cisco.
Old man Julian.
Ugh.
No, my picks aren't fun. My picks are all badasses, and I love them. Because, I need to say Ducat at the tippy top of the list. So where he belongs, because he is just so compelling to watch. He believes in every single thing he does, even the bad stuff that contradicts the other bad stuff. Get him, Ducat. Love you. I have a couple, dogs in the race. Smaller dogs in the race. What word am I looking for?
Lesser.
Dark horses.
There we go.
Not dogs, horses.
Dark
Dark dogs in the race.
In the horse race.
They're going to get beaten by those horses.
I would say.
Because first I wanted to say one of our good Vorta friends that isn't Wayun or Kivon, but Kilana.
Oh, sexy.
Is that the first
Yeah.
one we meet?
No, she's the
That
sexy one.
I want to bang.
From
you
the
Oh,
ship.
from the ship.
From the ship. Just because she was such an interesting kind of devious that she was different than the other ones, and I gave her so much fucking credit for
She
all
was
she
fun.
tried to do.
Yeah.
I wish we saw more of her, or at least a bunch of hers, because they're clones and we could. God damn it.
True.
And the
Missed
other one,
opportunity.
I don't even know if we'd call him a villain, except he's forced into a villain role, even though you can, in another world, we might be friends kind of guy. And that is a Jem'Hadar friend we meet in Rocks and Shoals' third Ramataclon.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Played by Phil Morris, because of course I love Phil Morris. And you can tell, he and Cisco have this chat, we don't have to kill each other at dawn, but we have to kill each other at dawn.
Kivon.
But
Yeah.
Kivon, who I also love, but I had to give him credit. It's partly just because Phil Morris fucking rocks it. So those are my three. What about you, Rossi?
So, I have a small list. So, my favorites are straight up, Kai Wynn and Ducat. They're just really awesome. But to bring up some other alternatives, there's the Terok Nor Garrick, who goes around
mental
just
Yes.
murdering everybody.
with the weird drugs.
Yeah. Did anyone else mention Sloane?
No, he's on my short
because
list.
nobody thinks he's great.
So
He is great until they wreck his brain.
Yeah,
His last appearance wasn't good.
The reason I like Sloane, ignoring that last appearance, is when he pretends to be the stellar cartographer at that convention, and he's just this weirdo geek.
Yeah.
For the whole time, to the point where you're like, wait, is he actually just this weird dude?
I have a feeling if... What's the last one's name called? The something Inquisition? I forget. Whatever the one where he gets killed in. If that episode didn't happen, Luther Sloane might have been in my top 3. Because he's so interesting. He was very close in my short list. But then they fucking do him so dirty. And I hate Julian so much for it.
His end is really unfortunate.
It is.
He's great when, you don't even know if he's actually part of the Federation. Part of Starfleet. He's so deep. And, no one could admit he even exists. And they're like, maybe he's just some guy who is co-opted some loophole in the system.
Just
We
this
really
guy,
don't. We don't even know what his motives are.
He'll turn turn back up because I know they said they're going to do that movie, like a TV premiere thing with Empress Giorgio or whatever the fuck.
Oh, I thought that
Section
wasn't
31.
I thought they
happening. Is that
canceled
still
Section
happening?
31.
They've
It's-
canceled the show. They're doing it as a movie.
Oh,
okay.
that seems like an even worse idea.
He should come back in it. That's what I'm saying.
As like a baby?
Okay, it's 100
Oh, wait,
years.
that's-
Yes, the 20.
Maybe
Listen,
Hello.
Lower Decks is visiting Strange
I was
New
just gonna
World.
say
Fair.
maybe he'll be on
Hello,
lower
I'm
decks.
Mr. Sloan, and this is my child, Just Sloan.
Well, they can pull a.
Mr. Sloan is my dad.
They can pull a Back to the Future. He's his own ancestor.
No.
Oh.
Weird and
I
gross.
put down Changeling Martok, but I actually can't remember if he was actually interesting as a villain.
No,
Well,
not
he-
really.
I think he
had,
showed
like,
up and
one,
died.
He had one like kind of villainous speech.
It
Yeah.
combines two of our favorite things: Changelings
yeah.
and Martok.
Yeah, I just like Martok enough.
Martok's great.
There was this is a little more, some of these are a little goofy. Akaram Lan, which is the poet from the past.
Oh, the
Oh,
who
shit.
tries...
fake prophet,
Yeah.
or the fake
Who
emissary.
brings
Yeah.
back the Dajaras?
Yeah.
That dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
sucks.
That was the reaction I was hoping for.
Well, you
Shit.
fucking
So
nailed it.
the episode where they go back in the past, kind of.
Which
with
one?
The
So many
really
of those.
good one that I can't remember.
Far Beyond the Stars.
Yes, Far Beyond the
Ah.
Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Wei Yun
Douglas
and
Past.
Wei Yun and Ducat
Oh,
as,
oh my
as
god,
the
his
cops.
asshole
as
racist
the,
cops.
As the two cops.
No,
So
give it to the
cops.
producer
Yeah.
of their little.
Yeah, that guy
Because
too.
even Rene Arbijan was the editor of the
Yeah.
magazine was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's like as complicated a villain as you can get in
The
a very
villain-
short runtime.
The villain
Yeah.
in that episode is racism.
Yes.
Yeah. The albino.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yeah,
that Kang wasn't killed.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! What is
Although-
that? Blood?
We don't really
blood
know
something?
do we really know why they... He
He
killed
killed
the
Kang's son or something?
He killed
Something.
everyone's son.
I feel
Yeah.
like there was like a lot of conflict with the albino, and they were just trying to kill each other for ages.
I just knew there was
and
like a
caused all
blood... It was
kinds
a
of
blood
problems.
feud.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it was called?
It's called Blood Oath.
Oh, Blood Oath.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I didn't remember if it was blood something.
And I guess my last villain would be the mysterious cloud.
Amazing. How many villains did you pick?
This is a lot of villains.
So
So I
many.
think
Too many.
if I absolutely had to choose, I
Just
think
the
I would.
Cloud three
I think
times.
I'd maybe go with Akaram Lan, the poet,
Okay.
because like
Fuck that guy.
he's awful, and like he gets a villain arc where like he shows up and he's like, oh, maybe this is gonna be good, and then it turns real bad, and it's just always bad. Sloan, with the caveat that kinda,
We ignore that
yeah.
last piece of shit episode.
And I think I would do. So you said Brunt, right?
I did say
Yeah. Let's do Tarek Nor Garrick.
Yeah.
Yay.
Love it.
Serial killer Garrick.
Yeah, the other that was on my short list that was shorter than the long list for villain, Sarah fucking Cisco,
Oh. Yeah.
because she put all of it into action. She's just a cold bitch.
Sarah Cisco was just
Possessed.
possessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how
Possessed
she
by
could
the
have been
prophet.
lovely,
So
a lovely lady.
You specifically
Yeah.
mean the
Yeah, the
prophet
prophet.
possessed Sarah.
Right,
Cisco.
yeah.
I mean,
that
I
is
think you
correct.
could
Yes.
just say the prophets, period.
The prophets,
Yeah, no, that's
period. I
fair.
like
They're
that.
awful.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
A couple other honorable mentions. Oh, the only character that made the short lists of both my minor characters and my villains list, Enabrin Tane.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
yeah, I
Love
was
him.
kind of
I was
kind
considering
of
Tane as well.
I kind of voted against him just because I didn't feel like he was quite villainous enough in anything.
He brought a whole convoy to try to kill the changelings.
Yeah, but is that villain? That seems maybe was like if they hadn't obviously known about it from day one and probably like whispered into Tane's ear to make it happen.
See, I also have
you know.
the step up in Andy Robinson's book A Stitch in Time.
Yeah.
He's just such a fucker.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Jesus Christ, Tane. What a dick.
I wish there was like an audiobook version of that with Andy Robinson reading it.
Didn't they
Is
announce
there?
he's going to be doing that, or
I
am I
don't
making that
remember.
up?
That would be good. I would absolutely buy that.
Would Jean-Luc Picard?
Yes.
He did murder Jennifer
Kill
Sarah.
my wife.
That Locutus,
Mm,
specifically.
um,
Did none of us say Vreenak? Sad face.
He's not really a villain, though. He's just a guy that got murdered by Garrick.
Julian Bashir, anytime he dated a patient.
That's
Yep.
true,
Yeah.
Which was multiple times.
Right, and he was pretty awful. Like I'm not really joking.
Keiko O'Brien,
Just in general.
just in general.
So I don't know when it's due, but yes, last July they announced that Andy Robinson's going to be doing an audiobook.
That's super exciting. That's super good.
Yeah, it's also like the best Star Trek book.
Yeah.
flat.
No, I mean I've heard like it's like they haven't even been able to like do another printing of it, but there's been like demand for it. I don't know if they managed to finally do another printing, but it's been out of print for ages. I've had friends spend like a ridiculous amount of money to get one.
Sorry, I derailed us with that. But, oh shit, I had a good one for villain, but I've forgotten. Shit.
Could we say Pup?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay! Pup is the best.
Rumpelstiltskin?
Also good. Good choice. The emus.
Yep. Buckeye?
Okay, now we're just trailing off.
or Cisco's wrestling partner there, Captain.
Oh, Captain Racist Pants.
Solok or some shit.
Yeah.
Captain Shit Vulcan.
Starfleet.
All right, I think we've named all of them. I think the rest of these you can check out on our Tumblr, where you can see who the heck we actually picked, because we've just been naming names now.
It's true.
So make sure you're following along with this on the Tumblr. We've got one left in our Deep Space Nine Spotlight series for next week, and that's going to be alien races from Deep Space Nine. We saw a bunch of them this week in Voyager somehow.
We're not going to do one about favorite pylon?
You can do that on your own, Chris.
Pylon number 3.
Great. Transporter pad number 2. Also, things we're doing next week. Okay, the plan is we're finally going to watch The Predator or The Predators or whatever the movies about the Predators are, because we just saw, some Hirogen being Predators, and it was very similar to whatever that movie I've not actually seen is. So look forward to that next week. So check out all of that. We're here on SoundCloud. We're here on Spotify, probably.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Probably.
Maybe
I don't
not.
remember. Apple, Google. There's a whole lot of them. Whichever one you're using now, just keep doing that.
Yeah, you found us once. You find us again.
If you're like overhearing someone listening loudly on the MBTA, ask them.
And also, we're sorry.
Yeah, tell them to turn down the volume.
Turn up the volume. Pump up the jam. I've been Ames. I've been pumping up the jam.
I've been Caitlin. I have not.
I'm Jake.
This is Chris. I thought it was Jam, but it's actually Odo.
Oh no, do. I'm James.
And James.
Yay,
is here.
James! Thanks, James.
When are we starting?
We've cut all of that shit. Do it
6
again.
hours ago.
Cut the whole episode.
They're
Alright, I
dicks.
really need the bathroom. I'm sorry.
All right.
Bye, Caitlin.
So, and Caitlin. Just edit that in, okay?